know if a lot of people tuned in, but Fox FIFA had this big extravaganza to announce the host cities of the 2026 World Cup. Normally, I wouldn't pay much attention to it, but as an American, you are drawn in. As an Angelino, after all that's been happening with Los Angeles and their potential hosting, I wanted to be right, because people were saying LA was going to be shut out, and I said there's no way you have a World Cup without Los Angeles, and I was right. You stick to your guns here on the Soccer OG. So, you know, looking back at the '94 World Cup, I catalog all those games, and again, I am the OG, so I'm a little older than all you guys, but I catalog all those games, and I remember where they were played. You remember the final in Pasadena. You remember the USA Switzerland in Detroit. You remember the USA and Colombia in Pasadena. You remember Italy and Ireland at Giant Stadium. It's crazy. It is photographic for me on that one. And some of the other World Cups to other degrees because of the stature of some of these stadiums. But certainly from being an American in the United States, you are locked in. So today on the Soccer OG, check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. There's a really nice one up there with Justin Merrim. We're talking about Asian Cup, down to the semifinals there, down to the semifinals of AFCON, and we'll have a new one this week. Waiting on some guests, but we'll have that. We'll talk a little bit more about the hosting of the World Cup as well. And like and subscribe us here. Hit that like button. Smash it! So the World Cup venues announced. I don't know if you saw this, Fox. I mean, I guess it was entertaining, but there was a point. I mean, they had, it was a Star Wars cantina of people. It was Kevin Hart and Kim Kardashian announced in the LA game, and Gianni Infantino wearing something that I think he took from his kid's closet. I mean, it looked good. It was just a little unexpected, and the cavalcade of Fox personalities. So it was something. It was something. And Fox will be hosting the World Cup. Fox will be showing the Euros. Fox will be hosting or televising the Copa America as well coming up this summer. So Fox is where it's at for the big events, which is really what how they've approached covering soccer. They don't do leagues, they do big events. And I got to be honest with you, I think they're getting a big payoff from it. I thought it was kind of crazy that you would just show a big event and then just drop in for that and then just stop doing soccer. But, you know, that's what they're doing. And maybe it's not perfect, but I mean, they have some big events, and that's where you're going to tune to. And, well, was it Telemundo's going to have the World Cup? And that's why Andres Cantor was there on the panel. And Cafu. It was so strange. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. And the first game will be held at the Azteca in Mexico. So remember, it's USA, Mexico, and Canada. I believe there are 13 games in Canada and 13 games in Mexico. Which, by the way, I forgot. I initially thought it was like 3 or 4 games. So right off the jump, Mexico and Canada, maybe you knew this, I wasn't aware, Mexico and Canada are bigger co-hosts than I think we initially thought. 26 games. It's a fair amount. So we shall see. Also remember, this is a 48-team World Cup, so it's going to be massive. I mean, the one thing that I think of a 48-team World Cup, and they're going to have groups of 4 instead of 3, which they suggested a while back, but it is going, you're going to play the groups to go down from 48 teams to 32. Normally you go down from 32 to 16, so you have a round of 16. But now you have a round of 32 and then a round of 16, quarterfinal semis. So this is going to be the biggest World Cup just on scope alone. And whoever wins this thing is going to have to win or advance through 5 knockout games. And do well. So you're looking at 8 games to make a final. That's a lot. And I wonder if the United States will be that team. It's hard to really predict that. But, I mean, we talk about how far we think they should go. I think people say quarterfinal, but round of 16 would be an accomplishment. Don't shoot the messenger. Because if you say win your group, you win the round of 32, and in the round of 16 you stub your toe, but we shall see. Now, the United States will get a better idea in the Copa America, hosting a competition, you have unique advantages. And we found out that the U.S. they'll train in Atlanta leading up to the World Cup. And I imagine, maybe they announced it and I missed this, but they will have an L.A. base for their group stage games, which will be L.A., Seattle, L.A. So they'll be out on the West Coast. I like what FIFA did here with regards to, they have 3 regions, West, Central, and East. And they're going to try and keep those teams there to limit the amount of travel. They also didn't announce kickoff times, and I hope they're good to the U.S. market. I hope we get some 7:30 Eastern time games so we can watch World Cup at night. That happened in the Brazil World Cup. They had a couple, and in the '94 World Cup as well. So hopefully we get some of that too, because it's our region. I know you want everyone to tune in, but we've had to adjust so often. Let someone else adjust. Let someone else wake up at 4 in the morning or earlier. Remember the 2002 World Cup? Dude, anyone remember? Oh my goodness. I mean, that was bedlam. I remember being at bars and then, it would be 1 a.m. you'd be drinking. And then at 2 a.m. they had to stop serving. So you went from beer to tea. And then some of the bars would just go, all right, we'll just keep open. This is LA, so they're shut down at 2, but they would keep the games open. So there's a lot. There's going to be a huge World Cup. And I'm trying to talk about the U.S. and I'm trying to talk about Los Angeles because this is why I'm invested. Let me get this one off my chest here quickly. There was some reports a couple months ago, won't mention any names, and I think the reports were accurate. And I think FIFA kind of put it out there that said LA is out of hosting World Cups. They were running for the final. They are no longer a candidate to host a World Cup final nor any World Cup games. And it was at loggerheads, it would appear, from Stan Kroenke at SoFi Stadium and FIFA. And Stan Kroenke would have to eliminate some seats, so less money in there. Remember, FIFA takes most of the pie here. I mean, FIFA is uncompromising with regards to the money that rolls in from the World Cup. The host doesn't get it. Now, that might fly sometimes when you're in South Africa or Qatar, but in the United States, LA, and SoFi Stadium is arguably the greatest stadium ever built. There will be another stadium that tops it, maybe that Real Madrid stadium. Remember, Spain's going to host the World Cup 4 years after. But right now, it is SoFi. And when you hear that Los Angeles is going to be shut out, LA hosted the World Cup final in '94 at the Rose Bowl. But, you can't do it. And I said that to people when that news broke. There's no way you can have a World Cup without having it in LA, first and foremost, because that's where people want to go. Visitors from all over the world want to, when they come to the United States, they want to go to LA. They want to go to Las Vegas. This is the numbers. This is what they tell you. They want to go to Orlando. They want to go to Miami. They want to go to New York. They want to go to San Francisco. They want to go to national parks. And that's the list. They don't want to go to Gillette Stadium. They don't want to go to Kansas City. Maybe Texas, but those cities I mentioned, and the national parks, so places close by, like Denver would have made sense because you're close to so many national parks, etc. That's where visitors, I speak to people, I go to national parks a lot. They say that most of their visitors are European and foreign, so that's where people want to go. But plus it's LA, and you saw it on that Fox show. They had Kevin Hart, they had Kim Kardashian, they had Drake. I mean, he was representing Canada, but all the entertainment industry is around LA. So don't tell me you can do it. And they said, well, the stadium is not big enough, no public transport. No. At the end of the day, LA was going to get in there. So I believe FIFA played hardball with Stan Kroenke, and Stan Kroenke said, bring it on. Stan Kroenke has his criticisms, and we could say that. And when we're talking about World Cup, it is about money. It is a money grab. But we can't get upset that one person has to relinquish their ability to make money while another one takes a bigger piece of the pie, which is FIFA. Stan Kroenke pushed back. I believe he said, nope, we want a little bigger piece of the pie. I don't know what that is, but he got it somehow because all of a sudden they're hosting 6 games. And while they didn't get the final, they did get 6 games total. By the way, Dallas had the most with 9. Atlanta and New Jersey had 8, and then a lot had 7 and 6 and so forth. So LA didn't have the most. And while they didn't get the final, they did get the two men's group games. We don't know how far the U.S. men are going to go. We know they're going to play 3 games at least. We hope they play 4, 5, 6, 7. But what we do know is those 3 group games, 2 will be at SoFi Stadium, and this is huge property. This is a huge get for Kroenke and SoFi Stadium. These games are going to be the most publicized game here, and they're going to be the most viewed games, and we have more viewers here than anywhere in the world, outside of India and so forth. But I mean, viewership connected to money, USA is where it's at. So I would imagine we're thinking about 60, 70, 80 million viewers. Is that crazy? I mean, whoever they draw, say it's an African team and then a European team and maybe a South America team, people are going to be tuned in. So it's going to be LA, Seattle, LA. So getting 2 games there and having it as the hub for the US team, which I'm sure it will be, is massive. I can assure you every other host city in the United States wanted that. And LA got it. So I still think they should have got the final. By the way, the reports back then said that Jerry's World was going to get the final, so that was incorrect. So FIFA putting out a lot of erroneous information, and MetLife gets it. I'm okay. It's New York. It's New York and New Jersey, and getting to MetLife is not the easiest, but it's not impossible, and the public transportation certainly should help. So I'm fine with it. It's New York, baby. The city that never sleeps. The Big Apple. So it is certainly there. Dallas won in the sense they got 9 games. And remember, there's so many games here. And Atlanta snuck in there. Miami, I think, had 7 games. So good news for LA. Great news for New York. And I think good news for Canada and Mexico. This is going to be, they're going to add a great part to it. And the travel's being limited a bit. This is going to be the biggest World Cup ever. There's no way around it. Just really quickly, the semis are going to be at Dallas and Atlanta. The quarters are at Gillette, SoFi, Arrowhead, and Hard Rock. So you have New England, LA, Kansas City, Miami. So you have nice equilibrium all over the country. And we will go from there, right? Now, the big key is what happens after this World Cup. Because everyone's excited. You can see all the celebrities coming in, and everyone's ready to take a piece of this World Cup. But what happens after? This has to go well. We need to have U.S. success. We need to have record viewership. And we need to have an exit strategy so that everyone couldn't go, hey, why don't you watch the U.S. team play here? Why don't you watch Major League Soccer? Why don't you watch our American players playing abroad? And you got to get the hook in. And the plan is 2027, 2028 is the real growth years. And if that doesn't happen, maybe soccer just never will reach the heights that we thought it could reach. Dead serious. That is critical. And several things have to fall in place that I listed. But if that doesn't happen, us in soccer will keep fighting for scraps with other sports. We won't catch the NFL, maybe make a little push on NBA or baseball, but that's it. It's a big spot. And it's going to get here quickly. And when it gets here, we better be ready to pounce. Me, you, everyone. So enjoy it. I don't know anything about the tickets. They're going to be very expensive. I'll see if I can get a media pass. We'll see how that works out. You got to start planning it. It's 2 years away. It'll get here before you know it. So, and don't worry about it. I mean, I didn't really want to do a video about the hosts. I mean, you should have been watching. I was trying to watch Inter Juventus, which was great, and the Madrid derby. So plenty of soccer to watch. The Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Like and subscribe us here. We'll be back this week with more videos, and I'll be on the lookout for a new pod as well.